everyone, welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today all about computer-aided design, or CAD, as it's more commonly known.
Right, CAD.
Specifically for those of you out there who are thinking about becoming CAD operators.
Okay.
We're going to go way deeper than your typical, job description.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the actual skills you need to succeed, how to get started in this field because it's pretty competitive.
Absolutely.
And what your career path could look like if you decide to make this, your thing.
For sure.
And just designing on computers, I mean, that sounds pretty cool on the surface.
It does.
But we're here for the, the real details, the behind the scenes.
The nitty-gritty.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty, exactly. And to help us with this, we've got a true expert in navigating career paths, especially in these tech-driven fields like CAD. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm excited to, I think there's a lot to unpack about what a CAD operator actually is, because it's not always obvious.
Totally. And you know what? You're right. I was looking at our handy-dandy career guide here, and it says that CAD operators create technical drawings of products. And okay, I get it. That's the gist.
Yeah.
But it's got to be more than just digital doodling.
It's way more than noodling, yeah.
So how would you describe it? What's a better way to think about it?
I'd say it's kind of like you're translating a designer's vision, right? They've got this idea in their head, but you're the one who turns it into something real, something a machine can actually understand.
Oh,
It's like the bridge between creativity and the actual, manufacturing process.
So you're not just drawing pretty pictures, you're thinking about the how, what it's made of, all that.
Exactly. You got to factor in the technical specs, the materials, how it all fits together in the real world.
Wow. Okay, so you need that artistic eye, but also a very technical mind.
It's that combination that makes it so interesting, I think.
I'm already intrigued, and we're just getting started. So tell me this. If someone's thinking, okay, CAD sounds cool, do they need a strong background in design principles to even begin? Or is it more about the software?
That is a great question. And honestly, you need both. Of course, software skills are essential. You got to know your AutoCAD, your SolidWorks, all that. But it's kind of like having a fantastic set of paintbrushes doesn't make you a great artist, right?
Right.
You need that fundamental understanding of design principles, composition, balance, all that good stuff. That's what separates the pros from someone who can just click buttons really well.
Okay, so you need both. Got it. Now, let's talk about something everyone wants to know about any job, and that is, the money.
Chuckles. Of course. Got to be realistic.
Right. Our guide here says there's a 5% projected job growth for CAD operators, which sounds promising.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Generally means there's going to be more opportunities out there.
But what does that actually mean for someone starting out? What can they expect?
So, while a growing field is always good news, here's the thing about CAD. It's not a set it and forget it kind of career.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Technology changes fast, software gets updated, there are always new techniques to learn.
So you're constantly learning, constantly upgrading your skills.
Exactly. It's a commitment, for sure. You got to be comfortable with that if you want to thrive in this field.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, our trusty guide also lists a bunch of different education paths. We're talking everything from mechanical engineering to fashion design.
Wow, that's quite a range.
Right. So how important is a formal degree versus, say, certifications or hands-on experience?
It's interesting because CAD is used in so many different fields, right? Hence the variety. A degree is great, don't get me wrong. It gives you that solid foundation.
Yeah, the theory, the fundamentals.
Exactly. But it's not the be-all, end-all. Certifications, especially those tailored to specific software, like if you're a whiz at AutoCAD or SolidWorks, those can be just as valuable, especially when you combine them with, real-world projects.
So you're saying experience trumps all?
I wouldn't say trumps all, but it's definitely up there.
Makes sense. And speaking of experience, the guide also talks about internships and entry-level positions, which, okay, that's how you get your foot in the door.
For sure, got to start somewhere.
But how do you stand out, especially if you don't have a ton of professional work to show yet?
That's where a killer portfolio comes in. Even if it's personal projects, freelance stuff, whatever showcases your CAD skills.
So it's your design playground, a place to experiment.
Exactly. You're showing potential employers what you're capable of, your eye for design, your technical skills.
That's a great way to think about it. Okay, let's say you nail the portfolio, you get that entry-level role. What's next? Is it just climbing the ladder, becoming a manager, or are there other paths?
So our guide outlines that typical progression, right? From entry level to potentially managing a team. But remember how we talked about how diverse CAD is, all those different applications?
Right, right. So many different fields use it.
That's where specialization comes in, becoming the go-to expert in a particular niche.
Oh, I see. Instead of being a jack of all trades, you go deep on one thing.
Exactly. Like you could become a master in 3D modeling for, say, medical devices. Or maybe your thing is architectural design, and you become a Revit software whiz.
Wait, so by finding your niche, you mean becoming like a specialist within the CAD world?
Precisely. You're not just a CAD operator anymore. You're the medical device CAD guru, or the Revit expert that everyone's fighting to hire.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you might start broad, but then hone in on a specialty. And that gives you an edge, right? Because you have that deep knowledge.
Absolutely. The more specialized you become, the more valuable your skills are.
Okay, this is fascinating. We've covered skills, education, now specialization. But there's one big thing we haven't talked about yet, and I know it's on everyone's mind.
Let me guess. The interview.
Well, that's coming up, but even before that, salary expectations.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know if they can actually pay the bills.
Right. So let's break it down.
Let's do it.
What kind of salary range can aspiring CAD operators realistically expect?
All right, so keep in mind, this is tricky because it varies so much. Location matters, experience level, what industry you're in.
Right, right. It's not one size fits all.
But generally speaking, entry-level positions will have a certain range. And then as you gain experience, get those certifications, maybe specialize in something in demand, that's where you start seeing the bigger numbers.
So factors like specialization and industry demand, those are key to boosting earning potential.
100%. It's not just about how long you've been doing it, but what you can bring to the table.
Okay, so it's not just a straight ladder, your career path.
Not at all. It's more like you're building your own unique set of skills, your own path.
I love that. And this deep dive is all about giving you, the listener, the info to make those decisions.
Exactly. Informed decisions make for happier careers.
All right, we've covered a ton of ground here.
We have. And it's only going to get more interesting.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the day-to-day realities.
Okay, let's get real.
Because it's not always glamorous, right? Every job has its ups and downs.
For sure. Got to keep it real. So, what do you want to know about the daily grind?
Yeah, so where were we? Oh, right, the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, because we've talked about the skills, the education, but what's it actually like to be a CAD operator?
Right, like what are you going to be doing all day, every day?
Exactly. What should someone be prepared for, realistically?
Okay, so for one, CAD work can be pretty intense, detail-oriented.
Oh, okay, so you're not just like whipping up designs in a flash.
Sometimes, sure, if you're lucky, but a lot of it is about precision. Like we're talking tiny measurements, making sure everything aligns perfectly.
So you need a lot of patience, a steady hand, all that.
It helps. If you're someone who gets bored easily or hates sweating the small stuff, CAD might not be the best fit.
That's fair. It's not for everyone. But on the flip side, if you're the kind of person who loves puzzles, who gets a kick out of making things fit together just right, virtually speaking, of course.
Right, virtually.
Then CAD can be incredibly rewarding because you see that precision come to life.
That's a good point. There's a real sense of accomplishment there.
Totally. And it's not just about the technical stuff either.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, think about it. You're taking someone's idea, their vision, and you're making it real, turning it into something tangible.
So like you're part of the creative process too.
Exactly. You're collaborating with designers, engineers, all sorts of people, and seeing your work come to life, whether it's a product or a building.
That's got to feel pretty
It
amazing.
really is. And the field is constantly evolving, new software, new techniques. So you're always learning, always being challenged, which keeps things interesting.
It's not like you learn it once and that's it. You're set for life.
Nope. Got to stay on top of things, that's for sure.
Makes sense. Now, we talked about certifications earlier.
Right, those are key.
Our guide mentions a few specific ones, like the Autodesk Certified Professional.
Yeah, that's a big one. Shows you really know your stuff.
And the SolidWorks certifications, those are important too, right?
It's huge, especially if you're going into industries that use that software heavily.
So it's not enough to just say, hey, I'm familiar with AutoCAD. You need the credentials to back it up.
Exactly. It's about having that proof, that stamp of approval.
So how do you actually get certified? Is it like a test, a course?
It depends. There are different paths you can take. Some people do structured courses, either online or in person.
Okay, that makes sense.
Others prefer self-study. Lots of great resources online.
Oh yeah, the software companies themselves probably have tons of stuff.
Absolutely. Autodesk, SolidWorks, they all want you to be certified.
Makes sense. It's good for them too?
Exactly. So they offer training, study materials, practice exams, the whole 9 yards.
So you can go from like a certified associate to a professional level? Is that how it works?
Pretty much. You level up your skills and your earning potential along the way.
Okay, I'm getting the sense that this field is all about like constantly pushing yourself.
100%. You're always learning, always improving.
And that's what keeps it exciting, right?
Exactly. It's challenging, sure, but it's never boring.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. Skills, education, certifications. We even touched on the day-to-day realities, the challenges and rewards.
Right. Got to be prepared for the good and the, well, maybe not so glamorous parts.
Exactly. But there's one big thing we haven't talked about yet, and I know it's on everyone's mind.
Salary. Let's talk money.
You read my mind. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we all got to pay the bills.
Exactly. So let's break down the salary expectations, what's
Yeah.
realistic, all that good stuff.
Okay, so we've talked about the skills, the education, the certifications, but what about the actual day-to-day?
The nitty-gritty.
Yeah, what's it really like to be a CAD operator? What should someone be prepared for, honestly?
Well, like we touched on earlier, CAD work, it can be pretty demanding. You need a lot of focus, attention to detail.
Okay, so you're not just like chilling out designing all day.
Some days are probably more chill than others, depends on the project, the deadline. But a lot of it is about precision, making sure every line, every measurement is perfect.
So you need a lot of patience.
Patience is key, for sure.
Okay, so if you're someone who like gets antsy sitting in one place for too long,
Yeah, if you need constant action, CAD might not be the best fit.
that's fair to know.
But on the flip side, if you're the kind of person who loves puzzles, who gets excited about taking something complex and breaking it down into all its little parts, making them fit together perfectly.
That's where CAD shines.
Exactly. It's like a giant virtual puzzle, and you're the one putting it all together.
I like that, the virtual puzzle analogy. And it's not just about the technical side either, right?
Oh, definitely not. There's a huge creative element, too.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, you're taking someone's vision, their idea, and turning it into something real. You're working with designers, engineers, bouncing ideas back and forth, and then seeing that final product, whether it's a physical object or a building.
It's got to feel amazing.
There's no feeling quite like it, honestly. Knowing you are a part of that process, that you help make something real.
Wow, that's really cool.
And the best part is, the field is constantly changing. Always something new to learn.
Right, the software, the technology, it's always evolving.
Exactly. So you never really stop learning, never get bored.
It's like you're constantly being challenged, which keeps things interesting.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so rewarding.
Yeah.
You're always growing, always pushing yourself.
I love that. So it's not just a job, it's like a career path with tons of potential.
Exactly. If you're willing to put in the work, there's no limit to what you can achieve.
This has been so insightful, honestly. I hope our listeners are feeling inspired right now.
Me too. I
Yeah.
love talking about this stuff. It's such a cool field.
Before we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for aspiring CAD operators out there?
Don't be afraid to dive in. Experiment, try out different software, see what sparks your interest. The possibilities are endless with CAD, so find your niche, find your passion, and go for it.
I love that. Go for it. And on that note, a huge thank you to our expert for joining us today. This has been an amazing deep dive into the world of CAD. And to our listeners, we hope you learned a ton and are feeling ready to take on those design dreams. Until next time, happy designing.